A little while ago, I talked about the portal that had been opened to the many. This portal of red pills, this departure from the matrix, had become something that was, to some degree, unwanted and, more specifically, not sought after. I use the analogy of magus or archmages who were skilled and familiar with the practice of the dark arts, as it were, and that something had changed because this portal of the internet and all the information and the media, it's so massive that every man on the planet is getting hit by it, irrespective of his location, and more importantly, irrespective of his inclinations. Because not every man is after the red pill. Not every man can, quote-unquote, handle the red pill. And indeed, I made the claim, and I believe I can back that claim up, that maybe, just maybe, some men are better off staying blue pilled for the rest of their lives, always chasing that blue pill fantasy until they die. And so I talked about that. But what about the converse? What about the women? What are they doing? Has the portal been open to them? Well, ostensibly it has. The portal has been open to everybody, everyone who wishes to partake of the information and the spells that are being emitted from the portal, so to speak. They can do that. But whereas men are getting hit left and right from every angle possible, whether they want to be hit by it or not, women, interestingly enough, have gone in the complete opposite direction. Women are not only still doing what they've always done, they're doubling down and doing it to even greater extremes. And of course, a lot of this has been encouraged and bolstered by the emergence of certain types of technology, such as Tinder. In 2010 and 11, Tinder, to the best of my knowledge, didn't exist. And this has amplified women's natural inclinations, their hypergamy, and their tendency to engage in playful activities on certain types of carousels. Now, it's almost an axiom of human psychology that awareness requires something negative to lead up to that awareness, which is to say, men historically have become aware of the red pill and the nature of themselves and women through experience, largely negative experience. It allowed them to pierce the veil, as it were, to seek out their own portals, and even the ones that are getting exposed to the portals unwillingly still understand something or a little bit of what's going on. But despite these portals being open, women are going the opposite direction. They're not paying attention at all. They're pretending as if everything is the same. And it is and it's not. It's the same in the sense that we're the same human apes we've always been, but the environmental playing field has shifted. It's different. It's not the same thing it's always been. On top of that, women have lost some of the prudence that, at the very least, they had been taught. And so there's an odd quality to us human beings. Alone of the animals on planet Earth, seemingly, we are acutely aware of the passage of time. Perhaps not for the grand scale of geological, let alone cosmic time, but we have a notion of our own time on this earth. We know that time is finite. We know that almost if it were seasons, we go through winters, autumns, springs, and summers. And women, as everyone knows, have their spring, as it were, maybe their summer, approximately between the ages of 18 and I'll be generous up to the age of 30. Despite all this information, the portals being open everywhere, several things have not caught up to them. The fact that their beauty, their youth is finite. The fact that they think they can do all these things and it will go on forever. Until, of course, it doesn't. It doesn't go on forever. Nothing does. And no one is there to shake some sense into them. And what's more, and what's odd, or perhaps not so odd, all the information is out there. Every woman who has the internet is in a position to find out the same things that men find out about the nature of the sexes and the differences between men and women. And they can all do that. And with a few exceptions, a handful of women who are cognizant of their limited time, most women are just ignoring all the signs. They're just doubling down. And because most of us grow into this world completely ignorant of our subconscious desires, as virtually every woman is regarding her hypergamy and her taste in mate selection, The consequence of this is they're not even aware that they're sabotaging their own future. And it's pretty clear. Sure, any average-looking woman can get laid. She might even be able to have sex with a Chad. She might even have lots of fun. But of course, that's not what women want long term. They want to snag the Chad. They want to entrap him, make sure that he sticks around. That's the great challenge. But time's running out for a lot of these women. I recently saw a video of some 30-something woman who was weeping at the fact that her prospects were so few and far between, and she herself didn't earn enough money, and she had some other issues, and everyone was supposed to express sympathy for her. But we don't know exactly what her activities were like in her 20s, but I think it's a safe assumption that, broadly speaking, the modern woman, the modern female, follows a certain pattern, and therefore it's difficult to evoke sympathy for that situation. Because whereas men are being bombarded by red pills and in ever greater quantities, black pills these days, women are ignoring all the signs. They're not paying attention to the flood of information the portals are spewing forth, and they're not even vaguely aware. I've seen things in recent years that I imagine probably might have taken place in some previous era or decade, but to the degree they're taking place now, hardly. So, for example, I saw a whiteboard at some sorority at some university, the whiteboard that you use markers for, where the sorority sisters, the females, were trying to outdo each other in the amount of points they get by having sex with as many men as possible. You got extra points for threesomes, extra points for anal, extra points for drunk sex, extra points for everything, with one exception, ugly guys. They gave you negatives. And there were names listed, and clearly it was a serious endeavor. Now, I'm not claiming this has never happened before, but the degree, if they ever develop an inkling of awareness, they're going to try to hide these activities. But that's the issue, gentlemen. Men aren't only going their own way, they're actually going in the opposite direction that women are going in. And that is the amazing thing here. Women are following the same path they've always followed, but men are taking divergent turns. They're going in different directions. They're less aware now than they ever have been because their hypergamy and their mating instincts are overwhelmed by the technology they see. The Instagrams, the Tinders, the YouTubes, all these things. And they don't know how to process it. So instead they just absorb it and they run with it. And they just run on autopilot. And there's a final element to this, actually. And that is the element of hyperreality. And I've addressed hyperreality in a separate video. But women have become so lost in their perception of reality as it passes them by that they're no longer in touch with their own relationship to reality as other people perceive it. And I'll give you some concrete examples. At my local gym, I see routinely women wearing very, very revealing, skimpy, tight outfits that are grossly overweight in many, if not most cases. Fat rolls left and right, or well into their late 30s or 40s, or both. And there was a time when people in general, and specifically women, had a sense of what would be perceived as attractive and not, but clearly something is amiss. Because you see this not just at the gym, but online and in real life all the time. Women wearing clothing that is far less than flattering. And I suppose they have deluded themselves into believing that being supremely overweight or near obese is attractive, and that if you emphasize that by wearing spandex and a sports bra with stomach rolls in between, that somehow is a testament to that beauty. And oddly enough, you almost never see that at the gym with men. Instead, they wear loose, baggy clothing. Sometimes they'll wear a tank top if they're actually well-built, T-shirts, etc., etc. So something is different, and it's not with the men. Now, it might be that most men will never find quote-unquote good partners, but with the permanent state of women's discontented hypergamy, it's very unlikely they're going to either. And unfortunately, they have no one else to blame but themselves in this matter. Gentlemen, as always, may the gods watch over you, and if I'm still alive, I'll check you later. Until the next time, bye-bye. If you liked this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you enjoy my content, please consider making a donation or becoming a patron. Thanks for watching.